You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth!
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
All right, welcome back, folks. You know, yesterday we told you the story about the uprising in Egypt and how it has a interesting link to cannabis in that country. Cannabis Carrie brought us to us in the news, and I bring you some more from the Wall Street Journal. This is the where she got the source, and also CannabisFantastic.com can give you more of this story. But it goes back to beaten and ultimately killed by police, and this young man had upon him that showed corruption by the police in the case of splitting up a baggie of marijuana, basically. And let me get to this story for you. It's Khalid Saeed, and they're saying, this is again reporting from the Wall Street Journal, is a lot of the source here. The spark that began Egypt's revolution came when Mr. Saeed, a small-frame 28-year-old, walked into the SpaceNet Cafe, one of his regular hangouts, just yards away from where he lived with his mother. The cafe's owner said he saw the two men in plain clothes and pistols on their belts come in and began hitting Mr. Saeed. He said they picked up the small man and started swinging him head first into a marble shelf. The owner of the cafe and his sons ran to push the policeman out, but they left dragging Mr. Saeed by the hair. A crowd gathered and watched as the two men smashed Mr. Saeed's head repeatedly against an edge of some stone stairs. A doctor in the crowd was heard shouting to the policeman, "What are you doing? He's already dead," as the beating continued. According to the family's lawyer, Mr. Saeed was the target because he posted a video clip on YouTube that purports to show the policeman dividing up a bag of confiscated marijuana with others to resell on the street. The clip was found on Mr. Saeed's computer after his death. The family said he surreptitiously downloaded the video to his cell phone using a Bluetooth device while one of the policemen was showing it to his friends in the cafe. According to the lawyers for the policeman, they say the policemen were looking for Mr. Saeed in connection with two other cases of draft dodging and theft, but when they confronted him, he resisted arrest. They say the defense will produce witnesses that will testify Mr. Saeed's face was unblemished until he arrived at the morgue. Yeah, sure. Senior forensic pathologists from Denmark and Portugal have dismissed the two Egyptian coroner's reports that list his death was due to choking on a 3-inch by 1-inch bag of marijuana. The family says the choking was faked and have produced certificates that confirm Mr. Saeed's military service. His killing sparked a series of demonstrations in Alexandria and Cairo last year, demanding an end to the torture by police. Victims' rights groups in Egypt say police abuses have rarely been pursued and even less often successfully prosecuted. This is just one of many cases that have happened in Egypt where the people have lost respect for the police forces that are basically run by the tyrant dictator there, Mubarak. But what this comes across in my mind for our people is, when do we start taking to the streets and marching like this in huge numbers in protest? It's not like we don't have similarly outrageous cases here in the United States of police dipping into the evidence locker and selling some of what they find in there out on the streets. It's not like we don't have the cases of police killing innocent people in their homes on mistaken warrants when they're looking for marijuana. These cases happen every day in America, and yet they're not given the same sort of treatment that we're seeing here in Egypt. It's not like I'm suggesting that we go out and start throwing rocks and having riots, but what would it take for everyone to get together on 420 this year, and instead of getting together with friends and watching Friday and smoking a bowl, how about taking you and your friends down to the state capitol and making a stand for ending this injustice in America? At 420, we need to start thinking of this as a political gathering and less as a party, and not letting the media dismiss this as just some sort of smoke out. You know, every year when the 420 holiday comes along, we get that little cutesy human interest story about 420 and somebody explaining how it was the group of kids in San Rafael, California called the Waldos who invented it. And hey, look at all these young people out here and the cloud of smoke rises, tee hee. Well, let's turn it into something something more than that. Let's learn from our brothers and sisters in Egypt here who have taken to the streets and demanded a change, demanded an end to a tyrannical, despotic regime in their country that continues to support corruption and torture. In our country, let's stand up and show our leaders that we want an end to the 40-year war on drugs. We've got an administration that knows better, that has admitted in the past that the war on drugs is an ultimate failure and needs to be changed, who has admitted in the past that marijuana needs to be decriminalized, our laws need to be rethought. It's long past the time that the science has proven to be on our side with respect to its medical use. It's long past the time that we've seen study after study after study recommending the decriminalization of marijuana. We've seen Portugal decriminalize and had a decade's worth of success that's been confirmed by every independent agency that's looked at it. The Netherlands has had a 30-year tolerance policy on marijuana and shows half the drug use and half the cannabis use rates of America. It's time to wise up, and it starts with you. It starts with you and me and everybody gathering together on 420 and going to their state capital, going to their county seat, going to their media, and making your voice heard. It's time for this to end. The revolution in Egypt is pointing the way, showing that the power of the people will be heard if they gather together and if they promote their cause strongly enough. We can do it, and we can do it without violence. Thanks for joining us here at Normal Show Live. Stay tuned for Hour 2. We got a special guest. Chris Goldstein from Coalition of Medical Marijuana New Jersey is joining us to discuss an upcoming meeting and the latest developments there in the Garden State. For Radical Russ and Cannabis Carrie and Ganja John, until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.